Right now, I would like to welcome Jim Beilstein, Manufacturing, Technology, and Global Initiatives from Owens Corning to the stage.
Oh, thanks. It's a pleasure to be here to talk about this. I think I'll highlight at least Owens Corning's point of view on a lot of what Greg talked about and some of the things we've been doing in terms of setting up and getting ready for real mobility. First, a little bit about Owens Corning. I noticed in my cocktail hour I ended up talking more about Corning glass than I did Owens Corning because a lot of people think we're Corning glass. We don't make plates, we don't make fiber optics. But Owens Corning is actually developed, it was founded in 1933 as a joint venture between Owens, Illinois and Corning Glass Works. We are, and then since we've been independent since 1938 from that original joint venture. We're the world leading supplier of fiberglass materials. In fact, we invented the fiberglass technology platform. And you'll see, if you go to Home Depot, you'll see a lot of our products. We're trademarked in pink insulation, roofing materials. And then we have a whole nother segment of our business that a lot of people don't see, which is the fiberglass reinforcements business, but you use a lot of our end products. Warner Ladders has all of our glass in it for fiberglass ladders, and then we're into emerging areas such as wind energy, infrastructure piping, those kinds of things made from fiberglass reinforced plastics and other materials. So we're very proud of our heritage, and we've been on the Fortune 500 for 57 straight consecutive years, and then now we're very also proud of our standing on the Dow Jones Sustainability Index. So that's a little bit about Owens Corning. Just to, this is kind of an industry standard slide, and it's kind of governing the way we're starting to think and look about mobility, and then I'll talk about a little bit about how we're getting prepared and what we're doing next. I think, like Greg said, obviously our main concerns are, of course, around security and compliance and finding the right applications to do in the mobility space. Some of the lists here that are in this kind of industry standard view are things that we're interested in, but not all things that we're pursuing right now. We're taking a very deliberate approach as we go through this at this point in time, mainly setting ourselves up to be ready and then looking at justification. I think the other piece that, from manufacturing and leading the application of technology in manufacturing that I'm very concerned about is our actually having a community that'll use the tools that we put out there. We're a manufacturing company. We have 120 global manufacturing locations, and before we start deploying mobility solutions, we better damn well be sure that the people on the floor are going to use it. So we're very concerned about that as well. So a couple things that we've been doing, and I think you saw some of the things that Greg talked about in his presentation. We've actually are somewhat ahead of a lot of companies in doing some things. We've been very proactive on it. We've been opening our IT environment and allowing smartphone and tablet integration. We have now moved this year to, we are no longer supplying BlackBerries to our employees. We're 100%, or will be 100% as we transition over the next 18 months as contracts expire and everything, to employee-owned smartphone devices, a variety of choices. We see that we're about 50-50 right now with our employees choosing iPhones versus Android-based devices, so it's kind of interesting how that's developing as we go. We've been upgrading our wireless access networks, particularly in our corporate offices and where we have customers and everything, to allow tunneling guest access and then certificate-based employee access to our wireless networks, which also helps enable our smartphone and tablet programs. And then we've opened up last year access for employees on our networks and in our PCs and systems, access to Twitter, Facebook, and those kinds of social media things. Not quite sure what that's getting us or how our employees are using it, but we just decided that we needed to do it because that's what employees wanted. And then, when it comes to mobility, we're investigating a number of use cases and actually have started implementing some things. We've moved, if you've heard Paul Boris talk this morning and a couple of other areas, we're actually moved a lot of our HR systems to success factors. So, and that's actually enabled on an iPad and everything else so that our employees can access their performance and goal setting summary things on iPads. So just a little bit of action there. And then field sales, we're figuring out what the field, how to enable our field sales things. But I'm not going to talk too much about that, because I want to focus a little bit on manufacturing being the structure of this conference. So, and then we're trying to put together a really structured approach around this. We want to do rapid experiments. We want to make sure that we have use cases that have value added to the business. And then we're designing those to also take a look at the IT implications, the manufacturing implications of starting in the piloting programs in this space. So very focused on that, and then building a strong ecosystem with our suppliers. I think one of the things that we have done very well over time is build a fairly strong relationship between our IT department, which is corporately run, and our business segments. So we actually don't have any IT in the business right now. It's all run corporately, but we work very hard with alignment and structuring of programs for folks together so that we're working on things that are important to the business. And I think that's important in having success. So there's a lot of things we could be doing in manufacturing around mobility, and these are all things we're interested in. What are we focused on right now in terms of what we're working towards? Particularly interested in delivering KPIs and real-time alerting to our operators and plant leadership team through mobile devices. And I'll talk a little bit about a pilot that we've been running in China on that over the last couple of weeks, months. But then, obviously there's all kinds of applications in supply chain. Maintenance looks like a very strong application for us as well. Structuring the ability for our maintenance folks to actually look at drawings, bill of materials, work processes, and everything at the location using a tablet or something like that. But as we're working right now, we are working largely in the real-time manufacturing bucket right now with some proof of concepts and delivery of statistics, KPIs, and things like that. So we've been laying the groundwork for a while. I think it's interesting. I think it was more serendipity than anything else, but we ended up, the engineering department, the manufacturing technology part of my title is really what was left of our corporate engineering department. So things like process control, environmental engineering, asset reliability, systems and technologies that go with the manufacturing shop floor that are IT-based have all been under my leadership for quite a number of years. And we actually that group sits under the IT organization. So, and then we just did a recent organizational change where, so I guess like the fox is running the hen house now. I'm a chemical engineer and I'm leading all global IT operations now for Owens Corning. So we've combined those two things together, and I think it's already generated some very interesting conversations with my operations team in IT as I ask them questions about why we're investing in things and what the implications are of manufacturing in those conversations. So I think we did that about 2 weeks ago, and it was really about generating more speed and value in the way we're looking at IT and manufacturing. So, and then, we've been probably doing the same kind of things everybody in the room's been doing, migrating from proprietary technology on the shop floor to more industry standards. Working with global suppliers, opening up our footprint, creating accessibility down to the device on the shop floor, and creating secure tunnels and separations between the business side and the manufacturing side, but allowing pathways back and forth between so we can exchange information and create visibility. And then last year we partnered with a couple of our key suppliers, Cisco, Rockwell, TCS, on redesigning our architecture for the network on the factory floor. Really putting in the latest in security, in cellular design, Wi-Fi, all those kinds of things so that we could enable a bunch of things. And we did that in a new plant that we just completed last year in Wuhan, China. So that's where we're testing a lot of our new concepts, where we're testing mobility ideas. We believe we have the securest standard we have out there, and its ability for us to also allow some of our suppliers from the U.S. to manage and help support equipment that we put into that plant that was actually sourced and built here in the U.S. as well. So, and then I talked already about changes in our IT landscape. So key considerations as we're working forward on our ideas. Really prioritizing what we're working on. We could do a lot of things, but I think we have to have priorities about what we're doing, how we want to look at technology and the sourcing of technology as we build those priorities. Implementation, Greg talked about the mobile app architecture. We're not there yet in terms of that. So what we're doing right now is really working on the integration side of mobile devices to our enterprise, making sure that they are secure and that we're happy with the security links in that. And then I think we'll start building the app space as we go forward from that. We have done some proof of concepts where we've built some apps with our partners, TCS in this case, for labeling of products, for monitoring KPIs, and we're working right now on one around energy monitoring as well on a mobile device. So just some ideas that we're working on and testing some of the ideas, mainly so that we can ensure that our infrastructure is set up right. So that's why we're taking a very proof of concept approach around it. Then there's the cultural thing, and I think that's the big thing for us, really. It's been interesting as we've implemented the bring your own device on the smartphone side. We're now at a 36% adoption rate on that, and that was right prior to us, making an edict that we're no longer in the BlackBerry business. So that means that over the last year, about 36% of our employees have opted in. Some just wanted to get email on their device anyway. They weren't part of a group that we normally compensate for cell phones and things like that. Others switching from BlackBerries to get to other devices. And I think that was an interesting experiment. We weren't sure when we started that how well our employees would take to it. So it gave us an opportunity to understand how technology savvy our employees are, which is important in this space, and then how reasonably quick they will be to adopt, which we were interested in as well. So, and I think, the shop floor is a different environment there. So, that's why we need to experiment some more there as well. So proof of concept strategy is how we're going to approach it. We'll leverage our state-of-the-art architecture in China for a lot of testing, but then we'll also, as we're upgrading systems in other parts of the world, we'll be testing other applications as we go around. And we're looking for specific use cases, designing those ROI return business cases and making those investments. Our focused areas right now, as I said, are KPI delivery, dashboarding on a mobile device. I think the other thing we're very interested in right now is mobile video and mobile video conferencing. If you think about it, if you guys are like us, we have a very small technical staff relative to our footprint. So, I've got myself included, but we've got employees who travel 300,000 miles a year on an airplane. That's not a very sustainable career for a lot of people. So how do we get them so that they can see what's actually happening in the factory floor without actually having to travel, so we can get speed to decision making and troubleshooting from our experts. So an absolute area that we're interested in exploring. And then we've got the other areas of data collection, analysis, traceability. So those are pretty much the 5 areas we're going to focus on with proof of concepts in this year, and then we'll figure out how big and how broad we'll go with those as we test and learn from those things. And then in parallel, as I said, we're really building out the infrastructure. Right now, all of our manufacturing mobile applications are based on our secure Wi-Fi infrastructure. So But at the end of the day, that has limited utility for our folks who are traveling or for the evenings and things like that. So really getting that to 3G or 4G is the next step, and making sure we're happy with the way that works. You know, we want to be platform agnostic, but you know, right now we're starting with the big two, the iOS and the Android, and then you know, kind of develop our supplier ecosystem that'll go along with this whole thing. So that's basically it. That's where Owens Corning is going, what we're working on, and you know, in the Q&A period, I'll be glad to answer any specific questions around that. So thank you.